thanks for tuning in again. Today I want to talk about creepy Joe Biden and his latest proper act of creepiness towards children. Before we go on to that, just as usual, if you're enjoying the channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you like any particular videos, please put the thumbs up. Click on the bell if you want notified of our next videos, and join the community by putting your comments into the chat box below. So, Creepy Joe, to put some context on it, if you've not already seen them, you just Google Creepy Joe children and look for videos. When I first seen them, it was a shocking assembly of videos, probably about half an hour's worth of videos from one event. It was back when he was the vice president to Obama, from memory, and it was the inauguration of the Senate, where lots of new senators were getting sworn in, and at the end of the ceremony, they were invited up to have group photographs with their families with Joe. Absolute crazy. I was going to download some of them and put them on, overlay it onto this video, but there's so much out there that just Google it if you've not already seen it. It's some of the most bizarre, strange, Jimmy Savile-esque behaviour. Those of us watching in Britain will remember the strange show Jimmy Savile had, Jim Will Fix It, back in the 70s and 80s, when he used to behave rather oddly around children. Joe's the same. Stroking their hair, going in to kiss them, and you can see the parents feeling really uncomfortable and trying to put a human shield between Joe and their children, holding them at the waist and pulling them towards them for photographs. Even in one, he actually rearranged the way the family was lined up so he could be next to the children. And in every photograph and video clip I've seen from that one ceremony, Joe's standing next to a child when there's a child in the group. Some of the awkward faces on the adults really making them feel uncomfortable about how he was acting in front of their parents and family members, and completely aware that there was TV cameras all pointing in his direction, but totally unaware about how his behaviour would be construed. And since then, any time I see a Creepy Joe video, I tend to have a wee click and a look at it, and the man's seriously deranged the way he acts in front of children. Now, he may or may not have a special bond with children, but even if it's completely safe, if there's nothing dodgy going on, to even act that way when you know you're under the microscope of the media, for the guy who's meant to be the leader of the Western world, it's a bit strange. And I just don't know what's going on there. Then when you factor in all the other mental Joe stuff, like tripping upstairs, falling down, falling off bikes. So one clip where he actually said to the child, whispered into her ear, "Don't tell your parents about this conversation." Like, how can you behave in that manner? I work with children on a volunteer basis. We are well versed in what you cannot do, what is and isn't acceptable. And to be fair, as a normal thinking human being, the majority of it's proper common sense. And to say to any child, "Don't tell your parents what we're talking about," that's not normal behaviour. And this man is the President of the United States, for God's sake, not a volunteer working for kids in the west of Scotland. Back to the point of today's video about Creepy Joe's behaviour. This one's just blowing my mind. And this isn't a video. This isn't something that's an immediate unthought reaction to a situation like before, when he's put in close proximity to children and starts stroking their ear and whispering their ears and pulling them away from their parents and stuff like that. Spur of the moment stuff. This is a reaction to a hostage getting released in Gaza. And I was stunned when I read it last night. Last night when I went to my bed, I started just catching up with the world affairs. I had a busy day yesterday, so I was doing that last night, and was reading about the hostages being released from Gaza, which is fantastic news. And there was a young American girl released as a hostage from Gaza. And as you would imagine, Joe, being the President of the United States, was asked to comment on it. And let me read this. This is his comments. Thank God she's home. I can't imagine the enjoyment. So it's a happy occasion. The President said, chuckling with delight, I wish I were there to hold her. The guy's mental. He's talking about a 4-year-old girl that's just been released from hell. She's been there since the 7th of October. What's that, nearly 4 weeks? He's chuckling. Imagine the enjoyment. I wish I was there to hold her. And that's a personalised statement about him. It's projecting inwards, not outwards. I wish I was there to hold her. Not, I hope someone was there to comfort her. That would be looking after the girl's interests. That's projecting outwards. He's saying it about him. I wish I were there to hold her. Is it just me? I haven't seen any... No, I may have missed it, as I say. I was busy yesterday, but I've not seen any comment about this bizarre statement. So this creepy Joe finding out about a 4-year-old American citizen being released after, about 4 weeks worth of hell. Thank God she's home. I just can't imagine the enjoyment, the President said, chuckling with delight. I wish I were there to hold her. I mentioned it earlier, Jimmy Savile, which if you're a non-British viewer you might not understand who he is. I suggest you Google him. And that's the sort of stuff that he would do in full view of the public, and then almost spoil the end of the story for those who want to look at it themselves. But turned into a very nasty man, and I'm not suggesting for 1 minute anything inappropriate going on behind closed doors with Joe Biden. I've never been behind closed doors with Joe Biden. But as a man that knows he's under the spotlight, world spotlight, 24/7, I just find it amazingly naive that you can talk like that. And not even just as, it's not just a one-off here. This is constant. This is going back, and the stuff I've seen, to his vice president days, which was years ago. And, I don't know what his life was like before then, but to have an almost constant stream of inappropriate behaviour, comments, actions with children, it's not a good look, Joe. And I'm shocked and stunned that the American people seem quite good as a nation at PR spin and all these sort of things. And nobody's like, Joe, just stop it. Stop sniffing here. Stop telling people not to tell their adults about their parents about conversations you've had. Stop putting out really silly quotes about you wish you were there to hold people that have just been released from hell. Honestly, how this guy... America's got one of the largest populations in Western Hemisphere. And if that's the best you can do, I fear. And even more worrying about that than that is he'll be surrounded by advisors and people, suggest what he should be doing in public and how he should react to stuff. And they don't get it. They obviously don't get it either. And I don't know, I'm not suggesting his inappropriate behaviour is anything other than stupidity. It might be, I don't know. But to just constantly have him have bloopers like this, it's not only incredible and strange for him. I mean, the man's obviously senile, so maybe give him a wee bit of leeway for that. But he's surrounded by people that guide his career and his stewardship of the American presidency, and I just don't get it. It's just beggars belief. But there's Joe Biden president of probably the most powerful nation in the world. Thank God she's home. I just can't imagine the enjoyment. The president said, chuckling with delight. I wish I were there to hold her. That's enough. Thanks for tuning in.